You are awake. You are naked and cold. You sit up and look around, and you see you are in a cage. Steel bars grow from the smooth cement of the floor and end in a roof of steel bars about 3 feet over your head when you stand. The floor of your cage has a drain in the center with sickly yellow stains running down into it. From the ceiling of your cage hangs a single bare light bulb, throwing a pathetic light down onto your... For a few minutes, you sit there quietly in the flickering light, trying to know how you got there. You can hear heavy breathing, animal breathing, coming from the dark surrounding your cage. After a few minutes, it subsides. You peer out into the dark, but your light bulb illuminates only a small patch around your cage, and past that is sheer darkness. You see a bucket in the corner, and as you crawl over it, you see there is water in it. You reach out to touch the water when suddenly a face slams into the bar of the cage beside you. It is the face of a chimp. It is screaming at you with primal fury, its mouth stretching so wide that the corner of its mouth are tearing. Its canines are long and yellow and razor sharp. Its eyes look as if they've been stabbed again and again, and blood flows from them down the chimp's face, yet the eyes still focus on you. You recoil and cry out, pulling yourself into the center of your cage. It lunges for you, and its filthy, overgrown fingernails scrape your forearm, which starts to bleed lightly. In the center of your cage, the chimp is unable to reach you by about 8 inches. It beats its arms against the cage for 5, 10, then 15 minutes, all the while screaming in that animalistic way. It beats its arms against the bars so hard that you can hear bone cracking. It beats and beats at your cage until its arms lose their shape because the bones are broken in so many places. After a very long time, the chimp finally calms and jumps off into the darkness. You sit for a long time, listening, trying not to make any noise. You don't hear any more screams, but you do hear animal breathing occasionally, and the shuffling of feet on cement. You stand and walk to the bars of your cage and attempt to see anything through the darkness. But to no avail, the darkness past the light of your light bulb is as thick as tar. But as you look out, the chimp attacks your cage again, and you fall back to the center of the cage. But this time, the chimp is not alone. About 50 other chimps are with him, and they come at the cage from all sides, all grasping for you, none able to reach you in the center, but you're unable to move away from the center for fear of being grabbed. You draw your knees to your chest, put your head between your knees, your tears dripping down the drain in the floor as you try in vain to drown out the sound of the chimps. They beat and beat at your cage with their arms, breaking their own bones in a frenzy to get at you. In fear, you piss on the floor of your cage like an animal. For what seems like hours, the chimps scream and beat at your cage. Eventually they calm and disappear into the darkness. For 2.5 days this continues. Any time you try to sleep, get at the bucket of water, or go near the edge of your cage, the group of chimps returns and attacks your cage. You are desperate with hunger, thirst, and tiredness. Fragments of teeth litter the floor because the chimps have been biting the bars of your cage with such pressure that their teeth have groaned and broken under the pressure. Your cage reeks of fear and human waste. The chimps are looking progressively more horrific as their teeth and bones break. Their flesh appears to be rotting off them, and their fur comes out in clumps. Finally, in desperation, you lunge for the bucket of water. The chimps run at you, and you're too slow in pulling the bucket of water away from the corner. They grab your arms and you try to scrabble away, but they pull you to the edge of the cage and rip into your flesh. You cry out in agony as the chimps tear away hunks of your flesh. You can smell the scent of your blood gushing along the floor, running along the drain. You sob as you watch the chimps scoop out handfuls of your intestines, and as you watch them feasting on you, black steals across your vision. The next time you awake, you are in the cage. You feel strange as you look at your arms. You see they are covered in hair, and your fingers end in filthy, overgrown fingernails. No, no, it can't be. You're one of those dirty, God-forsaken chimps. You gouge at your own eyes again and again, not wanting to see what you're seeing, but despite your eyes being mutilated and blood flowing from them, you can still see with crystal clarity. You look around and you see a cage with a single light bulb hanging from the ceiling. A slim youth is inside, and suddenly you know. It's his fault you're like this. You feel rage build inside you as the boy reaches to touch a bucket of water. You run at him screaming. He recoils to the center of his cage, and you grasp for him through the bars. He looks at you in terror, his face tears soaked. You want him to die. You want him to die right now. It's his fault. You don't know why it's his fault, but you know it's his damn fault you're like this. You want to destroy him, to rend his young flesh, but then you know what you really want. You want to make him an animal just like you. You want to make him an animal more than you've ever wanted anything before. Okay then.